So, now that we have some more information on Dainsleif, let's look into what we know so far. Dainsleif is known as the Bough Keeper, referencing the Irminsul tree's main trunk or bough at the heart of the world. It is likely the source of life in Teyvat and holds an important role in humanity's ancient past. As the tree's bough is deep down in the abyss, time flows differently for him there, stating in Venti's Miscellany video that although Venti slept for 1,000 years, it has only been half that time for Dainsleif. He comes from the destroyed nation of Khaenri'ah and holds animosity towards both Celestia and the Abyss Order, claiming that humanity will use a power from beyond to defy this world. Whatever this power isn't confirmed yet. He could be utilizing the abyssal powers without turning into a monster, similar to what Tartaglia does with his vile legacy, though alternatively, he could be referencing the Traveller as this power from beyond. The name Dain has a few links to Norse mythology. Dainsleif translated means Dain's legacy, and was a sword crafted by the dwarf Dain, also said to be the king of elves in some other accounts. His name translates to the Dead One. Dain, the Dead One, is also one of the 4 stags that eats the branches of Yggdrasil, along with Dvalin, the Unconscious One, Dunir, Thundering in the Ear, and Durapro, Driving Slumber. Both Dain and Dvalin are said to represent calm winds, while Dunir and Durapro are heavy winds. Perhaps we'll see these last 2 names in the future. So Dainsleif, the legacy of the dead, has the fitting name being from Khaenri'ah. He was there for the fall of the nation, and was likely found by the Traveller's twin after they were sent there by the unknown god. Perhaps the strange mask and monstrous arm we see on Dainsleif are the effects of the curse that the Traveller's twin was able to stop before it could fully transform him. In the same way our Traveller cleansed Dvalin's tear, he became what seems to be their guide, similar to how Paimon is ours. His knowledge of all events is vast, likely due to his position as Bowkeeper, and the idea that the Irminsul tree holds knowledge of the world's past, present, and future. When we ask him how he knows so much about the Boreal Wolf and Mondstadt's history, he says,
I only know these things because a previous traveling companion of mine once wanted to hear its story.
So, it seems as though he has to access something to gain the knowledge of certain events, and doesn't have an omnipotent knowing of all things by himself. Perhaps in Khaenri'ah, they have the technology to store data on the world's history through interacting with the Irminsul tree, and he is still able to access it. Dainsleif has no love for the gods, and Khaenri'ah was a nation created without them. If the gods are known to destroy civilizations that worship them, such as Salvandagnir and Dragonspine, it would make sense why Khaenri'ah was built away from their gaze. We know that it was an underground nation, so this could have been to hide whatever they were working on, likely in relation to Khaenri'ah and unlocking the secrets the Irminsul tree hid. They also had possession of the Genesis Pearl, an item that Celestia sent their 2 heirs down into the abyss to acquire, which hints towards it being an important item. His constellation is known as Snake Ring, which may be later translated to the more appropriate Ouroboros, or World Serpent, the snake that eats its tail. It represents the eternal cycle of life, death, and rebirth in many ancient cultures. In Gnosticism in particular, it represents eternity and the soul of the world. We also know that he wants to rescue the Traveller's twin from the Abyss Order. In the Teyvat storyline chapter, he states, Defeat me, command me to step aside, show me that you are worthier than I to rescue her. Then the threads of all fate shall be yours to reweave. He is likely referencing the Traveller's twin here, but why we would have to defeat him is a mystery. Commanding him to step aside implies that he is guarding something, that thing likely being the Irminsul tree's bough. It's speculation so far, but perhaps the venom that infected Dvalin and is said to be able to crumble mountains and poison the earth actually comes from beneath the Irminsul tree, and Dainsleif is trying to keep it from flooding out. In Norse mythology, the dragon Nidhogg, meaning curse striker or he who strikes with malice, is said to be trapped beneath the roots of Yggdrasil, the tree the Irminsul seems to be based on. The dragon produces a corrosive venom and gnaws at one of the 3 roots to topple the tree and bring the universe back into a chaotic state. Its breaking free is said to signal Ragnarok, the Norse end of the world. So, it would make sense that Dainsleif would only allow those that are strong enough to defeat him to be able to challenge this being. He also states that the Traveller's twin is too tired to travel, which may be why the Ruin Guard carried them off in the "we will be reunited" cutscene. He says,
She no longer travels. I'm afraid that traveling can be too exhausting at times.
How they became so exhausted isn't explained, but something must have happened to them on their journey across Teyvat to drain their powers. If the heirs in the Battle Pass cutscene represent the Travellers, and aren't a red herring, then it seems to point towards the Abyss tricking our twin into forgetting their origins and believing that they are the queen or king of the Abyss Order. The twin doesn't seem to be possessed, but the possession of the venom is subtle and could go unnoticed, as we see in the Bloodstained Knight story. Even Jorin thought it was spreading happiness as it was destroying Mondstadt, seemingly in a dreamlike, delusional state, so I wouldn't rule it out just yet. Dainsleif asks our traveller 3 questions in order to figure out if we would make the same decisions as our twin, likely to see what sort of path we would take when faced with similar choices. From the answers, he says, are similar, we can infer that they believe in the people of Teyvat more than the gods, and that they question whether the gods even care for humanity at all. The Traveller's twin seems to have been searching for something too. Perhaps the Genesis Pearl, as stated in the Battle Pass cutscene, which was in the possession of Khaenri'ah the last time it was seen. What this pearl is needed for hasn't been explained yet, but it was used by Gold in his experiments and is described as a luminous pearl that lost its glow during the fall of Khaenri'ah, hinting that it may have been corrupted by the curse, as the snake symbolizes in the Battle Pass cutscene. Our traveller's twin could even remember their original mission. We get a glimpse of what has happened before they were confronted by the unknown god in the description of the wings and sword of Descension. This is proof that you came to this world via special means. This is the seal of which only one who has pierced the celestial heights is worthy. Your journey will become very dangerous from now on, so that person told you. I don't know if this cloth will do anything to protect you, but it was indeed so. In your long journey, you have seen the birth and death of stars as they passed you by, scattering the darkness briefly before being consumed once more. This cloth will block neither heat nor cold, nor will it defend you from curses and ill will. But during your long nights in Teyvat, you will sometimes throw it on and find it to be most useful indeed. But when you face a force enough to destroy 1 or even 2 worlds, you do not truly remember who it was who treated the 2 of you ever so gently. You wish you could remember. When you face a boundless darkness or an all-consuming radiance, but that was 1 world ago. You no longer need to sleep out in the wild. Your bed in the city is fluffy and comfortable, and if you must camp, the grass is soft, filled with the fragrance of life. So from the moment you received that wing glider from that girl, you had already thought of a new use for that cloth. And now, you shall once again soar through the skies together with it. And the sword. This is the proof that you came to this world via special means. Only one who has challenged the world may wield such a sword. When this sword was last drawn, humankind was trying to preserve a doomed world. That world was their last and only home. This sword was drawn to defy that fate of destruction. But to draw steel against the law of the universe that all who exist must one day perish, surely it must have seemed the height of folly. But really, when one is faced with such a final fate, when up against the star-devouring darkness, what weapon would be fitting for one to wield? It can only be a sword. If nothing else, it shall bear the memory of those who face their ends without fear. When you wield this sword, you search for the answers hidden within this world. In this world, such a weapon may be used without any problem, not for the fact that the universe casts no shadows here, and certainly not simply because it suits this world's aesthetics, but because this search is perhaps why you descended to this realm in the first place. When the past is dust and the future arrives, as the present fades away, you can trust this blade's edge. Having a weapon for self-defense is, of course, a good idea. After all, this one was forged for one such as yourself, someone who challenges and pursues. Take it. walk this earth, and cut open all the challenges and mysteries that it has to offer you. The star-devouring darkness mentioned here sounds a lot like the Honkai from the Honkai Impact series, which is confirmed to be linked with the Genshin Universe. The mention of the universe not casting any shadows may also hint that it hasn't been noticed by the Honkai yet and is hidden away somehow. Dainsleif's line, "In the perpetual meantime of a hidden eternity," certainly points to the Genshin Universe being somehow different and separate from the others, and the name Tevat, meaning Ark in Hebrew, links up intriguingly closely to the Project Ark of the Honkai series, a ship that was sent out into deep space to find new universes to live in, away from the Honkai. The twins are escaping what sounds like the entire multiverse being devoured by some cosmic force. If not the Honkai, then it could be whatever the Abyss may be, as we know the venom from there devours and changes whatever it touches. They're looking for a solution to this, and each world they've searched for seems to have been destroyed eventually by whatever is chasing them. The Abyss infection could be the same as the Honkai though, as they are almost identical, and the Honkai infection is able to manifest in many different ways. It can come in the form of wars, infectious diseases, climate disasters, comet impacts, and even the arrival of giant monsters, known as Honkai beasts. The infection of the Abyss, as we see in Dvalin, can also be explained by a Honkai infection. The symptoms include loss of emotions, loss of consciousness, pain suppression, access to the Honkai hive mind, enhanced physical abilities, the gaining of unknown abilities, and quickly breaks down organic tissue and begins to evolve the existing specimen into a new organism with characteristics and functions ideal for survival and self-defense. Tartaglia also fits into most of these categories. His eyes in-game may represent his loss of real emotions, though he is still able to hold some of them in the case of his family. His transformation at the Battle of Golden House could also be explained by the last point. He transformed into a new organism better able to defend himself after accessing his Vile Legacy abilities learned in the Abyss. The Honkai energy could also be the cause of Khaenri'ah's destruction, being seen as the curse that was put upon them, and why time is said to be stagnant there. The Honkai source is not stable, constant, or evenly distributed in the universe. Numerous small Honkai sources will gradually aggregate and become a larger Honkai source, but this aggregation will not develop indefinitely. The bigger the Honkai source, the more unstable. They will destroy the steady state under external disturbances and break through the critical equilibrium, causing huge explosions. When Honkai explodes, a large amount of it may be consumed in a short time, which can cause distortions in reality. In this process, the physical properties of space-time will be disrupted on a large scale. However, this is destined to come at the cost of a huge catastrophe. Perhaps Dainsleif was the priest king of Khaenri'ah, similar to Varuk of Salvindagnia. Jean even mentions a hero king of Khaenri'ah in her voice lines.
Maybe we can discuss the tales of legendary heroes. Have you heard the story of the heroic king of Khaenri'ah?
It would explain how he got the title of Bowkeeper, and why he has such a hatred for the gods, as they destroyed his nation. I believe that Gold, the chief alchemist of Khaenri'ah, was experimenting on the Genesis Pearl and the Irminsul tree to gain forbidden knowledge to overthrow the gods. Dainsleif could have put a stop to this, but still been punished by Celestia, as we see in the official forum post. The confluence between the past and the future. The original calamity had been overturned, yet the island in the sky set the earth to burn. Chalk pursues gold in this time inopportune. The eclipse is swallowed by the crimson moon. The future must atone for bygone mistakes, as the bond familiar falters and breaks. Of the same blood, elders and the youth, such is the cycle of the world in truth. Dane, what is that strand of blonde hair to you? Someone you must kill, or the object of your penitence? And that's pretty much everything we know so far about Dainsleif, with a bit of speculation thrown in, as almost everything about him is a mystery. Hopefully we'll see him again soon and get some more answers. If you've made it this far into the video, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, let me know by liking or subscribing, and if you have any thoughts or ideas on the lore, let me know in the comment section below. I hope you have a great day.